Today's topic is, are negative loved ones holding you back? As I was thinking about this, it doesn't necessarily have to be negative loved ones, but
Right.
are negative comments
Yes.
from loved ones holding you back?
Yeah.
Have you had that experience? We've both experienced that. I think it's a common experience.
Not from each other, though.
No, but I think it's a common experience that as we're launching into something that other people aren't doing, certainly launching in as an entrepreneur or starting your own business or launching into doing a coaching endeavor, any of those kind of things, if other people in your family are more inclined to doing a 9 to 5 or doing something that's a little bit more traditional or whatever it is that they might feel, and they might have the best intentions for you, and it feels like they're not there giving you that support that you need. Not necessarily financial support, although that's nice, but it would be the emotional support.
Yes.
And helping you to feel like you're moving in the right direction.
Right. So encouragement and cheerleading and the kind of thing you need in order to make any kind of business or endeavor or project work. Today, we want to give you some tips on handling this, on how to be able to achieve what you want to achieve, no matter what your loved ones may be saying or whatever they may think, but without antagonizing or having any conflict with anyone. So we're going to give you 3 main points. The first point is that obviously we can't change what other people do. We can ask them, but we can't make anybody else think differently or say anything differently or do anything differently or see anything differently. Recognizing that we can't change other people, but we do have the power to change our own experience of those people. And that's because our own experience happens inside us. So regardless of what the other people are saying or doing, it feels like what they're saying and doing is affecting us. And it is, but not in the way we think. So unless they are physically touching us, they can't cause our experience of them. What happens is our brain and body respond to what we're registering, what we're seeing, what we're hearing. So somebody says something like, oh, that'll never work. And the effect is the brain registers those words and what they mean. And then it triggers chemicals that create feelings of frustration, despondency, feeling unsupported, whatever those feelings are. But the reason this is so important is because that person can't climb inside us and manipulate our chemistry. We can have control over how we feel and how we respond. And we're going to give you practical tools as well for this.
As you were speaking about that, I know that we recently saw an interview regarding John Travolta.
Oh, yes.
You know, when I was a kid, I remember auditioning, and some guy that was auditioning me told me to get out of the business.
Chantal.
Really. And I thought he was crazy.
Was the kind of comment that for many people, certainly me,
I would have went back home.
Absolutely, it would have been devastating. And the interesting thing is not that it didn't affect him that way. The interesting part of this is not that he went ahead and had an amazing career anyway. The interesting thing about this is that his brain didn't register it as a negative thing. He remembers thinking, that person doesn't know what they're talking about, genuinely.
But imagine you're 16 years old and you're in Manhattan with the wolves and the sharks and all that, and you're putting your heart out and you're performing, and you're thinking you're doing a pretty good job, and you probably are, and some naysayer or negative influence decides that you shouldn't be. But you have 1 or 2 ways to go. If your innate instinct to say, oh, they're right, I'm nothing, I'm going to go away, you'll fold. But I was brought up with such support that I wouldn't allow that to influence me. And I just thought, this guy is nuts. And I'm getting out of here. And I went and laughed with it about people. Imagine this guy told me.
Thank you for bringing this up because I'd forgotten about it. And it's such a beautiful example of how we all have different self-images that the unconscious part of the brain is referring to. So this is not about pretending to be confident or being positive. All of those things are good and they can help. But the key to everything, the key to having everything you want is changing that self-image so that your brain is referring to different evidence that proves who you are. So in John Travolta's case, as that person said that negative comment, his brain was referring to a self-image that proved he could be successful. I don't know how easily, but you know what I mean? It wasn't in alignment with his self-image. So it didn't occur to him to feel anything other than, they don't know what they're talking about. And of course, that then affects our decisions and the risks we're willing to take and work we're willing to put in and everything.
Yeah. And we go into a lot more detail in terms of understanding how that self-image is formed and how we can actually go back and change that self-image in a masterclass. And if you want to put that information on the screen, we'll put it in the description as well. But that information we go into a lot more detail.
Absolutely.
Today. I think really the tool that we want to be able to give today, more of a hands-on tool. What can I do right now in the moment, even if I haven't done this work yet, to change my self-image?
Yes. So if you don't have John Travolta's self-image yet, you can get it, interestingly, and we tell you in that masterclass how to. But if you don't have that yet,
you can't do anything about other people, but we can change our inner experience.
Oh, that is what I said there. Okay. There's the second one.
Changing our inside changes how we relate.
Thank you.
Others.
Yes. So that is kind of related to the John Travolta thing. And it is understanding that changing your insides. If you walk into a room and you have authentic confidence, and I see that's why you brought up the John Travolta thing, you were doing the second bullet point. Okay, I get it now.
I was kind of handing it to you.
So everything he said. So now we're moving on to the third one, which is the tool. Having put those into practice, the third thing we want to share with you is how to speak to those naysayers in the meantime. The thing you want to aim for is, instead of trying to convince them that what you're doing is going to be the thing you want to do, or there's good reason to do it, or that they're wrong in any way, instead of trying to convince them, the strategic solution is to assume that they are saying what they're saying because they care about you. Certainly, what you can be assured of is that whatever they're saying to you is about their fears. It has nothing to do with you and what you're doing, whether what you're doing is going to work or not. Everything that they're saying is coming out of fear inside themselves and their own beliefs. So knowing that and assuming that it's out of concern, care for you, the idea is to respond accordingly, which is, for example, oh, thank you so much. I so appreciate that. You know, I really appreciate that you're looking out for me, and I'll think about it. Or I'll take that into consideration. Let me have a think. What that does is, number one, it keeps your stress chemicals down because you're not in fighting mode or defensive mode. And number two, it helps the other person feel like you've heard them, because otherwise it can to them feel like they're going, there's a fire. And you're going, no, there isn't. And then they feel more urgent, right? But if you go, oh, thank you, I've seen the fire. I'll take a look at it. I'll put it out. Don't worry about it. Then they go, okay, so they've heard. So it helps to take their stress chemicals down as well, can help to keep both of your prefrontal cortex online, the cognitive thinking part of your brain. The main thing is it helps you to be able to still go ahead with doing what you're doing without feeling frustrated, feeling the doubt, feeling unsupported, and all of that. Now, it's in combination with those first 2 points we made, of course. So recognizing you can't make them think or do anything, and you need to change your own self-image so that you don't have those doubts in the first place. You have authentic confidence. And then, of course, along with that, being able to communicate to that person, thank you so much for your concern. I really appreciate it. And I'll have a think about it, or, you know, I'll consider it, or that kind of thing.
Yeah. And I would encourage, when you feel that trigger of somebody saying something negative, not supporting you, recognizing that that trigger is in fact the red flag. It's the work that you need to do. We need to be able to do the deeper dive into figuring out where that's coming from. There's that work on your self-image that needs to be done. So I would encourage you to take a look at the masterclass so that you can get a better sense of clearing that. That's what will actually allow you to stand in that empowered place and be able to hear everything that's coming at you in that sense of compassion, understanding that people are perhaps just trying to be helpful in the moment.
Right. All right. And we will see you next time.
Bye for now.